What's on, ladies and gentlemen? My name's Ross, I like games, and today we got some new starter deck cards to talk about. The other day I showed you about the starter decks. I told you that the Green Uta deck is bringing back a bunch of promo cards, which is lovely. I told you about the first cards that have been revealed from the starter decks. Well, a bunch more have gone and been revealed. We need to talk about them, and I need to start with an apology. Because I suggested that the Green Uta deck might be bringing you back the super rares from Starter Deck 11 and suggesting that maybe, if we got lucky, maybe we could see the Nami from OPO2. We know there's 3 super rares in the set, and we know that one of them is Shanks. We got a brand new Shanks, which means that my prediction, wish casting, say it how you will, of which cards we're going to be getting, unfortunately not true. But we do get a brand new Shanks, and you know what? Brand new Shanks still sounds pretty good to me. What does brand new Shanks do? Well, we got a 9 cost, 11,000 power. No counter, but a very big, very powerful, very impressive card. And we got a skill whereby on play, KO up to one of your opponent's rested characters. And it doesn't say of a certain cost, and it doesn't say of a certain power. Any rested character will do. And you know what? That's pretty good, honestly. That's pretty gosh darn good. It is a very good card. It's expensive, it's big, but it's very, very high power as an 11k. The fact that you can KO anything rested, and look, it's green. You should be able to get some green cards here, alright? You should be able to rest with green, and when you do, things get an awful lot better. Then you come and KO with Shanks, and you know what? As long as you're resting cards, and again, green loves resting cards, Shanks is big. I'm a big fan of Shanks. I like it very much indeed. This is one that I've got my eye on. And yes, obviously it's a film card. Be weird if it wasn't. But there is one other card we can have a look at from green, and that's Gordon. 2 cost, 0 power, counter plus 1,000, and you've got blocker. And look, I'm not saying this is good as a blocker, but I am saying it's cheap. And you know what? Sometimes cheap is good. You got 0 power, you're going to block, and you're going to go down. You're not going to survive the block. You are going to block, and that's the only thing you're doing. But that's kind of alright. It's another blocker you can use in film decks. It's low cost, it will fend off an attack, you're fine. But also, when your opponent attacks, you may trash any number of music type cards from your hand, and your leader or one of your characters gains 1,000 power during this battle for every card trashed. Now, I have seen some translations of this which say film. It's not film cards, it's music cards. On Gaku is music, and also remember, you can see on the Gordon card yourself, film isn't written as film. It's written, as in the Japanese one, it's written in the English characters FILM. That is what it's written as. Whereas in the Japanese cards, music is not written as music, it's written as ongaku, like we see in the card here. So you're basically talking about your song cards, your event cards, which are cool, but yeah, that is a little more restrictive. It really depends where you're going here. If you're playing an Uta deck with a decent amount of music cards, and you may well be doing so, you can get a big buff here. Because it doesn't have to be when you block, it doesn't have to be buffing this character. You can buff up your leader. Your opponent is trying to get over your leader, you buff it by 3k or whatever, and it survives. Or you don't give up a life, or you don't lose a game or whatever. It's actually really handy in that regard. Because what you can essentially do is use this skill to fend off attacks. And then when you can't fend off attacks by discarding music cards, then you just block. And it basically works like a double or triple blocker. But it depends how many music cards you got in your hand, how many you've got access to, how many you're willing to discard. It's not quite that easy, unfortunately. So just putting that one out there, it is a little bit awkward. Still an awful lot of potential, mind you. Now, moving over to the blue starter deck, the Dofi starter deck, we've got ourselves a new Crocodile, and you may notice we've got some images here of some of the leaders, which is awesome. And what we've got here is on play, 4 cost, 5,000 power, counter plus 1,000, nothing amazing. On play, reveal 1 card from the top of your deck. If that card has the 7 Warlords of the Sea type, draw 2 and place a card from your hand on the top of your deck. I love this. Because here's the thing, right? The combo here with Doflamingo's skill is phenomenal. Because Doflamingo's Don X2 when attacking, pay 1. Look at the top card of your deck. If it's a 4 cost or lower 7 Warlords of the Sea, you can play it. Well, here, you're kind of going a step earlier. Reveal 1 card from the top of your deck. If it's any 7 Warlords of the Sea, no matter what the cost might be, you get to draw 2, which is great. And then you put 1 card from your hand on top of your deck. But you're going to try and make sure that's a 4 cost or less 7 Warlords of the Sea. So your goal here is use Crocodile, draw a couple of cards, and then with the hand you had before and those couple of cards, you then put a relevant 7 Warlords of the Sea on top of your deck, and then you get to play it for free. Something like the new Boa Hancock I showed you a day or 2 ago. The one that's got blocker, for instance. A very nice one, the one we like a lot. And also lets you rearrange your deck a bit as well. From what we can see, it seems like this new version of the Doflamingo starter deck is basically leaning pretty heavily into we're going to try and make sure you're stacking your deck so that you can make Doflamingo skill fire. Because here's the thing, right? Back in OP01, Doflamingo was a top tier deck. It was really good. It's been terrible since then. So we've seen Boa Hancock already, we've seen Crocodile already, and they are both really going hard into comboing with Doflamingo. I don't think that's a coincidence. I am very excited to see how far we can go here. But then we finish off with a couple of cards that are going to fit into the red starter deck, starting off with Atmos. I like Atmos. This is one that could be kind of fun, and it actually combos really specifically with Newgate. 4 cost, 5,000 power, counter plus 1,000, actually the same as Crocodile, it's fine. But when attacking, if your leader is Edward Newgate, you cannot add life cards to your hand using your own effects during this turn. Now remember the whole Newgate thing is, you got 6,000 power, super high, 6 life, super high, but at the end of your turn you have to take a life, which of course is thematically very appropriate given Newgate in the anime and manga. So this stops that. And remember we had the character Newgate in OP02 that was a very big character, very expensive character, but also did the same thing, i.e. it stopped you putting cards from your life into your hand, but it came out a lot later. It was a character you weren't going to get on turn 2. This is a character that you can get as early as turn 2. This is kind of awesome. If you're playing Newgate, this is a character with meh stats, which then will allow you to buy a turn. And that's absolutely brilliant, and I love it. This is a cool card, one to very much watch out for. Just like King Jew. 3 cost, 4,000 power, counter plus 1,000, you got a blocker. You're a 3 cost Whitebeard Pirates blocker. It's fine, it's not a great blocker, but it's a low enough cost that you're probably going to end up using it sometimes. It's alright. But on your opponent's turn, if this character is KO'd by one of your opponent's effects, your leader gains 2,000 power for the turn. And this is good in a number of ways. Firstly, it's a blocker. We like blockers. Blockers are good. But it's not a very big blocker. And a lot of the time, when you've got blockers that aren't very big, what your opponent wants to do is use their effects to take them out, because they don't want to throw a big attack knowing it's going to get blocked. What they want to do is use their effect to take out the blocker, then when there is no blocker, then you throw the big attack. That's the point. But here, if they KO you with an effect, your leader gains 2,000 power, for the turn, and that means every attack your opponent fires off for the rest of the turn has to get over that extra 2k that your leader has. We know that the character Newgate buffs your leader by 2000 when you play, and that is phenomenal. This does the same kind of thing. If you're wondering, yes, Atmos and King Jew together kind of do what the 9-cost Newgate does, which I do find quite interesting, but the fact is here that your opponent either has to throw an attack out to take this out while blocking, or they have to let you buff their leader, and a lot of the time, both those are going to be bad ideas, and they're still going to have to choose one. So there we go. Those are the new starter deck cards that have gone and been revealed, and now it's over to you guys. Tell me which of these you're excited about. Tell me which starter deck you're excited about. Tell me anything you want to tell me in the comment section. Go nuts! Be nice. And then make sure you like this video, subscribe to this channel, follow me on Twitter at TheWasi. That's where we talk about One Piece and a bunch of other card games. And please do consider checking out patreon.com/PTCG Radio, where you can support the channel, get some bonus podcasts and all kinds of fun things. But by far the most important thing as always, look after yourselves till next time, would ya? Thank you very much for watching. My name's Ross, and you've been watching Wasi Plays.